More crushed cans, you guys. This is a Coca-Cola can. This is a Bud Ice can. Found this by the psych ward. I also found like a fuck ton of, I think it was Bud Light bottle. It's either Bud Light or like Michelob Ultra or something. There's like a whole 12-pack of bottles just like scattered everywhere. And I have to wonder, are people just littering? Like, are they just like throwing shit out of their car? Or are they just like walking up and down the sidewalk drinking? Like, what is going on? And I've always wondered this because, you know, everywhere you go. Is this a suburb thing? Because it's definitely a thing in the suburbs. Like, I've always noticed that because I walk around everywhere. You don't have to be in the city to walk around, you know? You can just be a crazy person that doesn't care that, you know, everything's this corporate slop, you know? But you can still appreciate what you can appreciate, right? Well, we definitely appreciate these crushed cans because I don't know. I just think they're really cool. But yeah, we'll see crushed cans a lot, and we have a very wide array of them at the house. I don't know what we're gonna do with them. We're gonna do something amazing, I'm sure. But yeah, I've always wondered though, are people just like going out drinking? Like, are they just like drinking so much that they're tossing all these traveler bottles and beer bottles and beer cans? Are they drinking and driving and they're tossing the shit out the window? That would make sense. Oh. But I always get excited though when I see a crushed can. Because there's like a really artistic element to that, you know, and it's very like American. It's like classic American, you know? Like, here's some more alcoholic litter. Okay, there's another one. What's this one? Oh, Java. This is a Monster. I think that was the last one I found. But, yeah, like, I don't know, I think there's a lot of art that you can see. So it's not just, like, art that you make. It's, like, the stuff that you see in the world that you think is a reflection of aspects of culture and society and everything. And yeah, I don't understand the obsession with crushed can. I just think they're really cool. Anyway, it's just yet another thing for me to hoard, right? Anyway, I'm gonna go inside now. I've been talking for long enough. And, you know, the reason why I talk so much on this channel is because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I don't say. In case in point, if you're leaving comments and I'm not responding, it's because I just don't want to respond. Or I don't really know what to say. Like, you don't always have to respond to people, you know? Like, I definitely don't react. I'm not a reactionary. So, like, I would rather say something artistically that expresses my point of view if I disagree with somebody, rather than just, like, try to change their mind. That's stupid. Like, that's so stupid. You're not going to change people's minds unless you're the example of what you believe in. That's the only thing that will change anybody's mind. If I started drinking, you would believe I was an alcoholic. So I don't need to change your mind, though, because that's not necessary. You know? Like, my self-knowledge is enough. I think for a lot of people, though, it's not. Because they either don't see themselves and hear themselves, or it's like they cave under pressure, and it's like really easy for them to feel left out and they're weak or whatever it is. But that's not the case with me. Like, I don't know. I think it's a strength. If you do things that people don't understand, or you hold your own, and you stand your ground and you say, no, like, this is who I am and I'm not doing that, or whatever. And that's really had to be the case with the smartphone situation. Like, I don't think that the only way that you can be a functioning human being with, you know, a decent frontal lobe is to not have a smartphone. But I think it definitely helps. I think that for most people, it's going to be really hard for them to break the habit of scrolling all the time because it's so fucking addictive. And so, anyway. Yeah, I don't know, just like reflecting on a lot of shit that's happened at work recently involving the women that I work with, of course. It's always the women. It's like they're just miserable, dude. They're so fucking miserable. And it's like, here's how you know you're dealing with somebody that's like super narcissistic. It's like they always have to be in control. And at some point, they're going to reveal that they're a very angry person. Those are like the two main things. So, and those things are be so prevalent in their existence. They're probably going to choose jobs where they're in control. And so, yeah, this chick that I work with, she's like, it wasn't that big of a deal when she was just a server. But now that she's a manager, like, she's such a cunt. Like, she's a bully. You know, she's a fucking bully. And she's a female bully in her mid-30s that blamed her heart attack on us. Okay? So it's not her life choices. Not at all. It's not the fact that she vapes and smokes weed all the time and drinks all the time. No. That's not it. It's because we stress her out at work. Like, she literally called me from the hospital and blamed me for it. Okay? Which is funny. But, yeah, I mean, the fact that she's on that level, it's like, why would I ever take this bitch seriously? Like, anytime that she, like, cuts me off so she can talk about herself again, or anytime that she has to be in control of the story. So it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. But, like, knowing what I'm dealing with, though, it's like, yeah, why would I get offended by it? Because, like, this is what she does. Because she has to be the center of attention. And she has to be in control. You know, it's really more about control than anything else. The reason why they get so angry is because they're not in control. And so if they lash out at you, it's not you they're mad at. It's the person that made them that way. But more than likely, they can't actually lash out at that person now. So it's you. Or whoever it is that's pissing them off, you know? Like, whoever is reminding them that they're not in control. So, I don't know. Maybe I should be proud of that. I should revel in pissing off these people. But I really don't want to, though. I'm not, like, purposely doing that. But at the same time, like, if you're going to throw a hissy fit over absolutely nothing, once again, then, yeah, it's kind of silly to fret about that, you know? But yeah, if they insult you, it means nothing. If they compliment you, it means more than nothing, okay? So, they just need you to validate them. And whenever there's somebody that comes into the room that can validate you, or can validate them better than you can, they're going to prove that they actually really hate you. You know? They're going to prove that they don't care for you and they don't actually want you around or anything. It's just kind of the space that you fill. You know? And I think for a lot of people, that's like a really disheartening thing to realize that about another person. Like, oh, wow, this person like doesn't really care about me and they don't. Well, here's the thing. Most people don't care about you. They only care about themselves. Sometimes you'll meet somebody that's actually genuine, but most people are not. And the world is never encouraging people to have meaningful relationships. That's why mass consumer culture is so prevalent in the West. It's because like people don't value the relationship with themselves. And if they don't have a good relationship with themselves, they're probably not going to have a good relationship with other people. So even though it's really hard for me to have any kind of relationship, the relationships I do have are still very genuine, typically with females. And there are some men in my church that I talk with, but that's because they know that I'm like a nun. So they treat me like I'm a dyke, which is good. I appreciate that. So yeah, but I was thinking about the whole like energy vampires, like yeah, they don't want your light because they don't understand what it is. They hate you because they don't get it. Like you have something that they never will. And so if you try to give it to them, they're not going to want it anyway. They just want to take you away from it. But it's mainly because they don't like the fact that you have something that they don't. They're always competing. They always want to feel like they have something over you. And so that's why this whole situation, it just sucks. And I was telling my sponsor about it. My sponsor was married to a narcissist. You know, she's got 2 children with him. And, you know, one of the reasons I love my sponsor so much is because she just won't put up with shit from anybody, you know? Because she was married to that motherfucker for a while. And so she knows what to watch out for. And she's kind of a cunt. But yeah, whenever you have to deal with people that don't believe in boundaries, you become a boundary Nazi. And yeah, it's definitely going to come across as very cunt-esque to a lot of people. But yeah, it's just the way it's got to be, baby. You know? I mean, in certain ways, it seems cold. In other ways, it's like I'm kind of aloof. But it's mainly for like self-protection. So all the stuff that I know about narcissism is mainly for self-protection purposes, you know? It's not because I wanted to know all this stuff. Yeah, so I don't know, I kept saying that I was going to do a video about this because it was just like kind of eating at me. Like I let this kind of stuff get to me at all, but then I realized, well, you know, I'm still human. I have feelings, like I wish that the relationship that I have with this woman I'm talking about was, you know, less stressful. But, you know, it's like people you work with, they're like family. And, you know, I got so many narcissists in my family, it ain't funny. So it's like, yeah, you just got to deal with them. It's like you'll see them in family get together and try to avoid them, but, you know, you just got to put up with that mouse. You know, it's just the way it is. But yeah, just having her, like, trying to boss me around and all this shit, That's the most annoying thing about it. But the thing, I don't take it personally. She does it to everybody. But I'm kind of her favorite person to bully because she's so threatened by me. Because what I offer her is so much more valuable than what all these other people offer her, because I know what she is, you know? And she knows that. On some level, I know that she knows that. Because she actually does value my opinion, and she, like, when we argue about stuff, it's like she'll come at me later, and I know that she's thought about what I said to her. And she didn't speak to me for 3 days because I called her a fucking liar. She is a liar. She is a liar, dude. That's why she's a liberal. They love the lies of this fucking world, dude. They love believing the bullshit that politics will spoon feed you, that they've got some kind of answer. And the thing is, the liberals are way more into that than the conservatives. I mean, I think I get on to conservatives too, but I think conservatives are a lot more realistic about the way that the world is. So at least they don't think that everybody being an overly sensitive candy house is going to fix any damn thing. Okay? But, yeah. Hoping I watch this and there'll be like something that resonates with me and I'll be like, there it is, bitch. There it is. Don't ever react this way again. But, you know, we're humans, so we do the same shit over and over again until it sticks. Like, okay, this is kind of useless. But yeah, I do notice, though, that, like, my spiritual condition has everything to do with that. So if, like, I'm in a good place, like, mentally and emotionally, like, I'm fine. I can just let it roll off me. And then other times, when I'm not, it's just, like, it really eats at me, and I get really angry. But, yeah, narcissistic people are not fun to deal with. Nobody wants to deal with these types of people, and the reason why people at my work haven't said the kinds of things that I've said is because they want her approval so that they're on her good side. You know, so it's really survival for them. They don't know that that's what they're doing, though, because they don't know what she is. But it's like their natural reaction. So it's like their bodies are picking up on certain signals that she's sending all the time that she thinks are totally fine, you know? It's totally fine for her to blow up on her coworkers and talk down to them and then because she'll just end up kissing their ass later, you know? But I say that, but I've had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations with this girl, so, like, it's not like there isn't anything in her that's capable of changing and growing as a person. Like, so I see that potential in her, but I feel like she's just never going to chase it because she's too fucking stubborn. And, like, I get that, because I'm similar to that too, but I guess I'm just not a hothead, you know? Like, I'm like the opposite of that. And contrary to what you might think, the opposite of a hothead is not a pothead, because she's also that, and it clearly doesn't work, okay? She's also smoking that THCA shit, so that's the synthetic weed. And what's kind of ironic is that she hates Trump with every fiber of her being, but Trump is the whole reason why she can get THCA. What about this joke? I just thought of it. More like THC, hey, what are you doing to my plant? That's not really funny, but I thought it was cute. Okay. No, I should bring that to her attention. But see, that's an example of something that I could say to her, where that's, like, clearly, like, a gotcha. You're a hypocrite. You're a liar. You don't really practice what you preach. You don't really care about the bigger picture of anything. But it's not going to matter, because she can just rationalize everything that she does. She can just keep gaslighting herself into thinking that she's right, because she always has to have the last word, you know? And that's just the way that these people are. And Like, there's nothing that you can do that's going to change that about them, which is why it's just fucking futile to get your feathers all ruffled because of it. You know? It's like she purposely says stuff to be offensive about my religion, and I just get quiet. And the main reason I get quiet is because I know that if I try to defend it in any kind of way, she's condemning herself even further by the way that she talks about it. So, I don't want her eternal damnation to be even worse than it's already gonna be, okay? No, but seriously, she's not a good person. And I've worked with her long enough that I can definitely attest to that. And there are plenty of other people that will attest to that. And people that have quit their jobs. And like, she's just been in so many altercations with various employees because she's a bully. And I think, yeah, it's other people's narcissism that just puts up with it, including like our boss. And I told him, I was like, yeah, she's a fucking narcissist. He's like, yeah, you might be right. I was like, you know I'm fucking right, dude. But I think that with narcissists, like, they do have positive qualities. I mean, she's a really good worker. I can't take that away from her. But she's a good worker because the rest of her life's falling apart. So she has that to hold on to, you know? Well, here I am bitching about her. See? This is how they take you away from your light. Because you just end up like just talking about it. And well, I mean, I'm not angry though. I'm just kind of speculating on the whole situation. Like, yeah, this is what it is. This is what it's like to work with somebody that is like your baby sister that's constantly trying to compete with you. And she's your boss. I mean, she really lets that get to her head. I mean, I've told her, like, straight to her face, like, yeah, you shouldn't be in this position. Like, you're a fucking woman. Like, women all too often let that kind of authority get to their heads. Which makes sense because, like, our emotions are revolving around validation. And so if a person doesn't validate her, she has to punish them. And she either punishes them by bullying them, or she, avoids them and doesn't make eye contact with them and gives them a silent treatment, which is not punishment. Definitely not punishment. I wish I never had to deal with her. But, I try to keep the peace, and I don't like beefing with anybody, At the same time, though, I don't think that she has any fucking clue how much I despise her. I mean, because that part of me still loves her, I still care for her quite a bit. But I really can't stand her ass, though, But she thinks I don't know that she can't stand mine. And she makes that shit so obvious, too. But yeah, all narcissists will end up, like, telling on themselves. Because they can't help it. Because they don't have a personality, they don't have character. If they don't have character, like, all of their crazy, impulsive emotions, like, they have no choice but to fucking leak all that onto everybody. And obviously with the covert narcissist, it's a lot harder to spot, but you'll figure it out eventually. I mean, that's what happened with this other friend of mine. It took me years to figure that out about him, Her, though, man, I knew she was a narcissist the second I saw her. Because there's a look to him, dude. There's a look to him. It's so fucking haughty, and they're like, you can see it in their eyebrows. And here's the thing, she draws on her eyebrows. She draws them on her face. So yeah, that's one of like the key indicators that somebody's a narcissist. If you just like pay attention to their eyebrows. Like, I've been watching my eyebrows. I'm like, am I doing that too? I don't think I do that. But it's like one of their eyebrows is like always like raised to like indicate that they like think they're superior to everybody. Yeah. I don't think I do that. Maybe sometimes I do that. I'm sorry about that if I do that. But no, like we all have narcissism, you know, like we all have that part of us. But we choose like what we chase. We choose the things that we focus on, and a lot of the time we don't even know that we're focusing on it. But that's why consciousness is so greatly feared in our society, because people want to keep making bad choices so they can keep this perpetual victim narrative going. And whether it's the victim narrative of like, oh, I don't get treated right here, or oh, this person pisses me off because they're out to get me and they just hate me or whatever. Or like, this always happens to me, you know, like there are just so many ways to play the victim. It's not even funny. And, you know, people are definitely going to gravitate towards jobs where they're able to be in control, and they'll have stuff that pisses them off on a regular basis. Like if they have an anger problem, they're naturally going to be gravitated towards things that allow them to release their anger at random, you know, people, places, and things. So that's why all these people are obsessed with politics, because there's no shortage of things that'll piss you off in the political sphere right now, and especially with our president, that everybody can blame everything on. So, yeah. Don't you find it interesting, though, that it's like, oh, we have a narcissist president, but, like, people are just proven through their social media accounts that they're spitting image of a narcissist? And maybe they weren't always this way. Maybe, like, the internet just really brought it out, but... anyway... I hate that for them, though, because they have no idea that they can make different decisions and not be such a piece of shit. Because it is a fucking choice to not be a piece of shit. It's just that a lot of people don't realize that. So I believe it was Terence McKenna, the drug guru, who stated that shamans aren't good at healing people spiritually. It's more about them knowing who's capable of being healed. So it's just that we have more discernment than most people. And that's why I sound like such a cynic, because I'm like, yeah, most of the world is completely useless and they should be thrown into an active volcano, you know? That's not how I really feel. But, I mean, just looking at them and, like, their trajectory is not going to be too different, because they don't realize that they have the capacity to change it. Well, that's why being an artist is so fucking cool, because you can literally do that, like, on the spot, you know? Like, obviously, it's not going to change some fucking political policy, but I would much rather make something and have something to show for, like, my whole belief system and my faith and all that, than just keep trusting, you know, other people to make me feel better about my place in the world, or, you know, what's going on in the country. You know, I would rather just, like, create my way out of that. Because it's just a load of bullshit. It really is. It's just designed to suck you in. The world is an energy vampire. And there's so many ways to, like, suck out your energy now. So. Speaking of sucking out my energy, I'm about to go on fucking, what's that place you guys love and are obsessed with? The internet. Yeah, I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to put up that comedy video and maybe some other videos. And yes, darkness. That's exactly right. We're going to be in some darkness, but it's okay, because we got all these spiritual books. So we just have to remember the light. And if you remember the light, the darkness won't be so dark.